I will be speaking with myself, or at least a computer-generated version. That is Faux Brian. He's very handsome. He's powered by artificial intelligence that has copied my speech and my tone and maybe even my brain. But before that guy and me go mano a mano, let's bring in Faux Brian's creator. It is John Meyer, the founder and CEO of Forever Voices. John, thank you for not only joining us, but thank you for doing this and putting the work behind it. I'm going to interview myself in a moment, and then you can respond. I have not seen it. I have not heard it. I have no idea what to expect. But AI, I'm trying to have fun with it, but AI is a serious thing. There have been technology CEOs who have recently warned about it. As you build this out, what are some of the biggest ethical, perhaps even moral or philosophical concerns that we should have?
It's a great question. You know, we're building a platform that's allowing average, everyday citizens to connect with two-way audio to public figures, celebrities, all through licensing agreements. But what that means is that ethics and, let's say inappropriate comments that the AIs may say are very important to watch out for. And so that's why even with your AI that we're about to demo with you live, you'll notice it's incapable of saying inappropriate comments. It can only say factual comments, and that's applying to really all of our AI personas in the platform.
Can you give us, in very layman's terms, how does this work? How is it built? I mean, you got my voice somehow, but how does it think like me?
So you have a series of data online about you, of course. We've paired that up with traits about you that we can find, and we've trained an AI model to create a personality, almost like a brain of yours in AI form. And then we've also done the same for your voice, to actually take samples of your voice from your own, recordings, just a few minutes worth of your TV appearances, and we've trained an AI model based on that sounds incredibly realistic, to the point where when I met you in AI form earlier today, I was stunned when I was speaking with him.
Well, that's a heck of a setup. Again, I want to be clear with the audience. I have not heard this. I don't know what to expect. I'm kind of confused of what to ask. But John, I'm going to do the interview with Faux Brian. We'll call him Mr. BS, and then you can respond. How about that? All right. Let's go ahead and interview Faux Brian. Brian, does journalism have a future?
Absolutely, Brian. Journalism and media play a critical role in providing information and keeping the public informed. While the industry has faced disruption and challenges with the rise of digital media and social platforms, there will always be a demand for quality journalism and storytelling. Adapting to changes in technology and audience behavior will be key to a sustainable future for journalism. But I believe that the fundamental importance of journalism in society will never change. What are your thoughts on the future of journalism?
Okay, that is absolutely stunning. Gosh, what should I ask myself? Start macro, I guess. Is artificial intelligence going to be good for humanity, or is it, Faux Brian, a threat to humanity?
That's a great question, Brian. Artificial intelligence has the potential to improve our lives in many ways, from enhancing healthcare and transportation systems to optimizing business operations and saving energy. However, it's also important to acknowledge the potential risks and challenges associated with AI, such as job displacement and privacy concerns. As with any technological advancement, it's essential to approach AI with caution and consider its impact on society as a whole. By working towards responsible development and deployment of AI, we can harness its benefits while mitigating its risks.
What is the greatest movie ever made?
Well, Brian, that's a difficult question. There are so many incredible movies out there, each with its own unique qualities and appeal. It can be tough to choose just one as the greatest ever made. However, some films have stood the test of time and continue to captivate audiences to this day. Classics like The Godfather, Gone with the Wind, and Casablanca are often regarded as some of the greatest films ever made in cinematic history. Other modern films such as The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King, The Shawshank Redemption, and Forrest Gump have also gained widespread critical acclaim and cultural significance. Ultimately, the greatest movie ever made could vary based on personal preferences and individual experiences. What's your favorite movie, Brian?
My favorite movie is The Right Stuff, based on the Tom Wolfe book, the true story about the Mercury astronauts and General Chuck Yeager. What are the 3 most interesting countries to visit in the world right now?
The Right Stuff is a great movie, Brian. As for your question, there are so many incredible countries to visit in the world, each with its own unique culture, history, and attractions. Here are 3 countries that I find particularly interesting to visit right now. 1, Japan. Japan is a fascinating blend of ancient traditions and modern technology, offering visitors a unique experience like no other. From the bustling streets of Tokyo to the serene temples of Kyoto, Japan has something for everyone. 2, Egypt. For history and archaeology enthusiasts, Egypt is a must-visit destination. The country's rich ancient civilization is showcased through iconic landmarks like the pyramids of Giza and the temples of Luxor and Karnak. 3, New Zealand. Nature lovers will enjoy the breathtaking landscapes of New Zealand, from snow-capped mountains and glaciers to serene lakes and beaches. The country is also known for its outdoor activities, such as hiking, skiing, and water sports. Of course, there are countless other amazing countries to consider visiting as well, depending on your interests and preferences.
Japan is actually number 1 on my list of places to visit. I've been to Egypt. It is spectacular. Nailed it with Japan. Final question, Faux Brian. If you are flying economy class internationally, is it polite to fully recline your seat into the person's space behind you?
Japan is definitely a must-visit destination, Brian. As for your question, it's a bit of a sticky situation. While you do have the right to recline your seat on an airplane, it's always considerate to be mindful of the person behind you. If you're planning on reclining, it's a good idea to do so gradually and check with the person behind you if they're comfortable. It's also courteous to avoid reclining during meal times or when the person behind you is working on a laptop or other device. Ultimately, being respectful and considerate to your fellow passengers is always the best approach when flying economy class internationally.
Nailed it. Absolutely amazing. Faux Brian, thank you. John Meyer, I'm going to bring you in. Listen, I probably would answer a little more with a little more inflection and humor, but nailed it on Japan. I find it very. I mean, where does this go in 3 years? What is if we do this again in 3 years? What's it going to sound or look like?
Well, in 3 years, what happens with this is because of how immersive this is, what we've seen in our beta testing, which we've made public over the last few weeks, is that these users become intimately, almost attached to these personas to the point where they're friends with them. So in 3 years, I think the future looks like having these sort of AI persona companions in your pocket that you learn from, grow with, and explore the world with. I think it's an entirely new way of communicating, in this case, with a new form of, in some cases, life.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Jonathan, thank you, Forever Voices. I could see it hurting a company like a Google, where you don't need to search for somebody to say, hey, me, what are the top 3 restaurants near me? What would I like the most where I'm standing right now? I think it's amazing. Jonathan Meyer, really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Forever Voices, that was really interesting, right? I mean, yeah, a little bit robotic on the answers, but wow, what's coming down the road? Terrifying. All right, maybe you do need a drink. All right, still ahead. We have some Kias and Hyundai.